split.
You're right. The American Jewish community is split. There's a percentage, I think probably a minority, that is strongly backing Bibi Netanyahu and will largely vote here on the basis of policy towards Israel. And there's, I think, a larger percentage of American Jewry that will vote on the basis of the whole range of political issues. But there is a lot of support. It's interesting what Bibi Netanyahu is doing, Joe. It's not just the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem. It's also the anti-Iranian policy. Essentially, he is getting as close as he can to Trump, and also because of the so-called peace process, the idea of working with the Saudis and others. There's a real paralleling between Bibi Netanyahu's position on big issues and the Trump White House.
Yeah, Adrian, the Democrats, how are they going to respond not only to Trump this past week, but also to continued problems from freshman members of their own class? By the way, this is not new. Right. We caused so much problem. In 1994, we came in, and one of us was saying something stupid every day. And when we weren't saying something stupid, Newt Gingrich was saying something stupid. At least Democrats have Nancy Pelosi. But, just this weekend, AOC calls FDR racist, calls the New Deal racist. You have a different anti-Semitic remark seemingly coming every week. Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic leadership, man, they are shoulder to shoulder, strong, speaking out against that anti-Semitism. Just curious, though, what's their next play? What's their next act moving forward if this continues?
Well, part of the problem, Joe, as you know, is that when you have more Democrats in Congress, you're more apt to say there are more people in the party who are going to say things that are not, that may not be politically correct. We have a very diverse caucus. I'm certainly not going to stand here and defend some of the comments by AOC and some of the other members, but at the same time, these are women who have their own opinions, and they have grown up in an age in politics where they are, and they were largely elected, by the way, to speak their mind. Certainly not defending that, but they have, certainly earned the right to go out there and say what they believe. And I think it's also important to note some of these members are representing communities in their districts who have been large targets by Donald Trump. So they're going to Washington showing, we're angry. We are here to represent the constituents in our district who have been essentially persecuted by Donald Trump since he's been in office and since he, frankly, has been running for president. So I have a little bit of sympathy towards some of these members who are coming in with a little bit more of a hard edge. But at the same time, this is why we have Leader Pelosi. She can whip that caucus into shape like nobody else. And I cannot imagine anybody else being the speaker right now who can really try to unify her caucus around some of these issues.
Still ahead on Morning Joe, President Trump flew halfway around the world only to walk away empty-handed when it comes to North Korea. China's president has no intention of doing the same. How Trump's negotiating tactics with North Korea are looming large over trade talks with Beijing. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be back. A Florida entrepreneur who founded a chain of spas and massage parlors where New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft was recently arrested for allegedly soliciting prostitution has become the latest Trump political donor to draw controversy. According to a new report by Mother Jones, 45-year-old Li Yang runs a consulting business that has offered to sell Chinese clients access to the president and his family at Mar-a-Lago. Yang and her husband founded their company in 2017. It's described online as an international business consulting firm that provides public relations services to assist businesses in America to establish and expand their brand image in the modern Chinese marketplace. The company notes that its services also address clients looking to make high-level connections in the U.S. One page of the website displays a photo of Mar-a-Lago and claims activities for clients have included providing them the opportunity to meet with the president and other political figures. The company boasts that it has arranged taking photos with the president and suggests it can set up a White House and Capitol Hill dinner. Yang first came into the news last week when the Miami Herald reported that she had attended a Super Bowl viewing party at Trump's West Palm Beach Golf Club, where she even took a photo with the president. The same day, the Miami Herald broke the story. The website for Yang's consulting firm stopped functioning. Li Yang no longer owns the massage parlor connected to Robert Kraft's arrest.
Steve Ratner, we've been focusing on Russia so much. And you have people like James Fallows and other respected voices that actually say this sort of issue is very troubling. And the access to Donald Trump, the access to the Chinese government, all a bit too tight for comfort.
Look, there's no question, first of all, that politics attracts a rather eclectic, unsavory, Star Wars bar kind of crowd. People want to get close to power. People want to be in there. We've all seen in my many years of fundraising a lot of characters you wish kind of weren't there. I can't say I've ever been across or come near or even heard of anything like this, where there is this potential for engagement with some foreign power who is not even a foreign power that we're on particularly good terms with at the moment. It's a little hard to tell from this piece exactly what she might or might not have done vis-a-vis China. It seems clear she has some connections to China, whether it's beyond simply going to events and reporting back to other people in China, it's hard to know. But it's yet another example of Trump somehow managing to surround himself with some of the most unsavory characters who are out there.
Yeah, and you know, while we're talking about China, Richard Haas, news breaking over the weekend that President Xi now getting very concerned about the possibility of a summit in Florida. He saw Donald Trump walk away from the summit in Hanoi with North Korea. He doesn't want to fly all the way to Florida to be embarrassed by the president pulling up stakes and basically bringing the summit to the end, which certainly very understandable, just like it was very understandable that Donald Trump walked away in Hanoi.
Everything's connected, and it obviously caused problems for Kim Jong-un, and it's linked to the reconstitution of this missile testing site in North Korea. In the case of the Chinese, though, this is a government that's already feeling pressure. The economy is slowing significantly, probably far more, Joe, than the official statistics suggest. These trade talks are difficult enough on the merits, and for what it's worth, it's not the worst thing that a foreign leader would say we're not going to have a summit unless it's totally wired. That should be our position as well. We ought not to want to have summits unless they're totally wired. Neither side would benefit from coming together and having, if you will, a reprise of the North Korean experience. But it's just a reminder that what a president or a government does in one piece of the chessboard, you can't isolate it. Everybody is taking notes. So what we do in Syria or what we do in Afghanistan or what we do in Hanoi vis-a-vis North Korea, everything has implications for everything else.
What I would suggest that the president, again, walking away from the table in Vietnam actually was probably a good signal to send not only to the North Koreans and to the Chinese, but everybody else across the globe, because he's gotten the reputation over the past couple of years, has he not, that he's an easy target. You just flatter him. He'll give you what you want. He'll give you, he'll give you the summit that you want. This actually may have been a good pushback. At the same time, we're hearing that he is going to leave some troops in Syria to push back against the Russians and the Iranians there.
Look, I thought it was, in a tactical sense, good that he walked away from an agreement he thought was inadequate. But in a strategic sense, Joe, we never should have gotten to that point. We never should have allowed this summit to take place with this degree of a gap between our side and the North Koreans, where the United States was still insisting on a set of positions that were never going to be realized. Why the two sides were so far apart is beyond me. And again, I expect we'll talk about it later. There's fundamental questions now, given what North Korea seems to be doing, about what it is we would do in response. What is it we are prepared to accept if we can't get what we say we need, which is denuclearization? I actually think after 2 years, our North Korea policy is meeting a truly decisive moment.
Coming up on Morning Joe.